Hello everyone, welcome to my one of my Dark Souls 2 tier lists. And the first one of the two I've planned so far is going to be the quality list. So this boss tier list is going to be based purely on boss quality, how fun they are to fight, and how, I guess, fair they are. No, just fun, okay. This tier list will be entirely based on how fun they are to fight. And whether or not they're a gang, just general quality. I figured I might as well split the tier list because I know something that really pisses me off is when the tier list doesn't specify what it's ranking. So like it could be boss quality. The other one I'm definitely gonna do it could be boss difficulty, and then a million other fucking minor shit you could rank them on. Like there are plenty of YouTubers who do goofy shit or goofy tier lists. So, but this is gonna be based on pure quality. Now, I guess there's no point wasting any more time. I made this tier list. As you can see, I should probably change that, shouldn't I? Whatever. It doesn't matter. I ordered these in roughly the order you normally fight them. Obviously, there are exceptions, but I went off a list. I should probably close, actually. I just opened something up accidentally. Give me a moment while I close this because I'm an idiot. I apologize. I meant to click OBS, but I accidentally clicked something else. Okay, there. Now we can get started. Since I ordered them roughly in the order you'd encounter them, the first one ended up being Last Giant. Now for Last Giant, I'd say he's average. There's nothing really that stands out about him. He's not a bad fight. He's really easy, but I wouldn't say easy is a negative. At least in most cases, especially considering this is the first boss, it makes sense. It's pretty easy. But basically, as long as you're not really brain dead or just spamming, you shouldn't get hit really. Because it's pretty easy to dodge even if you have bad iframes. Okay, next we have Pursuer. Remember, I'm only talking about their first encounters, their boss encounters. So even if a boss is reused a bunch of times like Pursuer is, it's not going to add or detract from their score. Or maybe it should be. No, because the only time a boss reuse is going to be subtracted from their score is if it's reused before you fight the actual boss. The Pursuer, though, yes, technically you can fight him before you fight his boss, but I wouldn't count it because if you defeat that encounter, it also defeats his boss. So you're fighting the same one. Not to mention, at least in the Pursuer's case, considering his lore, I'd say actually being reused makes a positive on him. So I'm gonna put him in good. He's a good fight. He's pretty easy to dodge, which I holds it from being amazing. So he's not really challenging. The only time he's challenging is if you have shitty iframes, but that's more just the game's crappy mechanics than the boss itself at fault. And like I said, I like how him being a pursuer and lore like pursuing after undead and trying to kill them. I like how he follows you throughout the game. Even though I guess I'm gonna mention this. I'm gonna mention reuse, but it's probably not gonna affect the score that much, if at all. Now Dragon Rider. Incredibly easy to the point where it's fucking stupid. It makes no sense according to lore since he's nowhere near a dragon. I'm just gonna put him here because there's nothing really noteworthy. Even his design's kind of cruddy. There's just nothing that stands out about him, unfortunately. He's very, very bland and generic. The only good thing is he's a great means of soul farming if you use ascetics. At least in the early... Well, no, I guess not, because he doesn't drop many souls. But he's a really easy way of getting a bunch of souls right at the start of the game. Since even if you don't do the cheese method, you can still easily kill him, since he's really fucking easy to dodge, even with bad iframes. Next we have Old Dragon Slayer, which is just orange scene from Dark Souls 1, except with like a dark coating instead of electricity. I'm gonna put him in top of bad for the time being. Normally he'd go in good, but the fact that he was reused from Dark Souls 1 as basically the exact same fucking fight, except that there's no Smo, or Phase 2, it drops his rank a lot. Especially because there's no real reason for him to be there. Because there's a dragon literally right outside of his fucking door. It doesn't make sense. Remember, I'm referring specifically to Scholar. While most of these I'd imagine would probably say about the same with the original Dark Souls 2, I've never actually played. So I don't know the context of a lot of these fights, or if they've been changed at all. So I have seen some things around saying some of the fights have been changed in Scholar. I'm not sure, though. Regardless, so Dragon Slayer is not only a fucking rehash of an older boss, but doesn't make any sense for where he is. It's just lazy. The only reason he's not in Horde is because he's still a good fight. Despite being a fucking lazy-ass thing. Exile Sentry, a very creative boss, a decently fun fight, except when he ends up being reused. And he's just cool. I'm gonna put him above Pursuer. I like him a lot. He's fun. He's not overly difficult. He has some iffy hitboxes. And when he's reused, he can be kind of fucking infuriating, especially in the Bastille. Or I guess it's not the Bastille, the area right after the Bastille, you know what I mean. He's a good fight, though, when he's actually a boss, though. Ruined Sentinels. I'm putting them in... They're not as... I'll put them in the middle of bad. They're not as bad as Dragon Rider. But individually, they're pretty good fights. But the fact there are 3 of them really detracts from them. Again, ganks always are... Or not always, but are usually worse. Especially when it's just 3 of the same fucking enemy. It makes it annoying as hell to try to get it hidden. Especially as early game as it is. One good thing is it allows you to, if you have decent damage and have good iframes, you can take out the first one prior to the other 2, but then you have to deal with the 2 at the same time, because even if you stay up the platform, they'll jump up like within a few seconds of each other. And then if you don't manage to kill the first one in time, then you get to have fun running around the arena for like an hour trying to kill the 3 of them. It's ridiculous. Or if you just try to get down to a bigger area where you can't fall or anything, which would make sense logically, and you have all 3 at full health to deal with right away. That would be awful. The only reason they're not in Horde is because they're still a good fight by themselves, like when you go to Dragon Lake Castle. Meaning they would be good one-on-one. But because they're a gank, especially with how earlier they are in the game, and how cruddy their hitboxes are, I'm putting them in bad. Lost Sinner. I'm putting top of good, maybe. Yeah, because Lost Sinner is a very good fight. He's never reused as well, which is nice. The biggest problem is, one, the really cruddy range of lock-on, which is quite annoying. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, he has really cruddy hitboxes, too. If he had better hitboxes and didn't have that lock-on shit, I'd probably put him in amazing. He's the closest one by far, but he's good, but eh. Also, I should probably put some nah. You guys will see with other rankings for the other Souls games. Belfry Gargoyles, Horde, one of the worst bosses in the game. Not only do the Gargoyles have horrible hitboxes, and even on a one-on-one fight are still pretty cruddy to fight. You have to fight like 3 of them at a time right at the beginning of the game. It doesn't make sense. And they can't stagger, and they don't... Well, they take decent damage, but even with double greatswords, they don't get one-shot, which is fucking ridiculous. It's just a horrible, horrible fight. I don't know why they're in the game. Luckily, they're optional. So if you do want to fight them, I'd suggest saving them for last, or at least close to last, so you can beat them through all stats more easily. Although you shouldn't have to do that. Skeleton Lords. They're a massive gang, but I had no problems with them. Although I could see you having problems if you had something like a spear or a dagger. Although I don't know why you'd be playing through the game with your main weapon as a dagger. But I'll put them in, I guess, average. Below the last giant. Because yes, they're a gang, but they're really, really easy. And it's kind of fun just running around and fucking kicking the shit out of like 50 skeletons. Executioner's Chariot. I'll put him in bad. Reason being is the run-up to being able to knock the horse away from the chariot is annoying as hell. With all the stupid fucking witches and skeletons and shit. It also doesn't help that even whenever you kill the witches and break the chariot, or break the horse away from the chariot, it doesn't kill the leftover skeletons. So especially if you're not paying attention, you could get low because of the chariot and then get clipped while you're trying to heal by one of the skeletons. Which would be fucking annoying. Completely infuriating. It also doesn't help that the run-up to this fight is a fucking nightmare. You basically have to kill everything, otherwise you only have like a 10% chance of actually getting through the boss fog. And then there's that one item next to the jump. Or one item up behind a stupid jump with Dark Souls 2 shitty jumping mechanics. It's just not a very good fight. It's not worth it. And even whenever the chariot is reused in Dragonlight Castle for no fucking reason, it's still pretty bad. And that fight especially makes it more obvious that the chariot also has pretty bad hitboxes. It's just not a good fight. The only reason it's not in Horde is because it is still interesting. Also, I'm going to move the Dragon Slayer down, way down. Because he's horrible. Shit pisses me off. Covetous Demon. There, I guess. Because he's really easy. But he's also... He has some really fucking dumb attacks. And cruddy hitboxes. There's just nothing interesting about him. At least with, like, the last giant... the last giant where I said where he's really easy, but it's still a decent fight. It's because of an interesting design. The Covetous Demon, he doesn't even look like that. He literally just looks like Jabba the fucking Hutt. A big ball of fucking disgusting-ass flesh. There's nothing interesting about him. The only interesting thing about the fight is the vases, or the hollows at the top of the boss arena, that if you knock down can be used as a distraction for the demon. But still, it's not good enough to make it any better than bad. Mytha. I'll put it up at average. Because it's an interesting fight. I like how it's almost like... It's kind of like, Medusa a little bit. But the problem is, she has a couple really dumb attacks, like that head throw, which it seems like it always fucking hits me no matter what I do. And since I'm trying to heal from that shit, I don't have time to punish her for that. And it doesn't help that even when you burn the windmill, you can't completely get rid of her healing. She'll sometimes just back into the poison and just heal forever. It also doesn't help you has really, really, really bad hitboxes, too. I guess maybe she shouldn't be this far up then. Maybe below of average. The only reason she's not in bad or Horde is because she's an interesting design. And has some decent lore behind her. That's it. Fire Smelter Demon. Although I didn't get to fight him one-on-one. From what I saw from one-on-one and from what I got with my 2-on-1, I'm going to put him top of good. Reason being is he's actually he has one of the coolest designs I've ever seen in a boss. It's really cool. It's a suit of armor possessed by some, like, demonic flame. It's really fucking cool. That's what's he's actually a pretty good fight. The only thing I don't really like is how, one, he gets damage reduction when he does certain attacks, or switches phases, whatever. Also, once you get into, I believe it's phase 2, maybe phase 3, he starts doing AoE damage. It's a small amount, but it's annoying. And I really don't think, especially with a boss, you should be punished for sticking close to them. Like, in that way. It's just stupid. But regardless, it's still a very, very good fight. And it's something like, if he wasn't logged partially to a quest, he'd be a lot better because he'd actually be able to fight him one-on-one. Like, if I was able to fight him one-on-one, there's a good chance I would put him in amazing, but... Also, the Magic Link doesn't count. That one, you'll see later, but that one's way worse. I hate that fight. Old Iron... Oh, one other thing. I guess another reason why he wouldn't be put in Amazing is because his run-up is fucking awful. But as long as you go kind of slow, you should be fine. It's still annoying, though. It's still really cruddy run-up. Old Iron King. How about here? I don't know. He's a very cool design, and I like his arena a lot. A giant fucking pit of lava surrounded by volcanoes, even if it makes no geographical sense. It's still a very cool boss design and arena design. Problem is the lava hole in the middle gets you killed a lot. Him going under the lava and moving around the arena makes certain strategies pretty much unusable, and it's annoying when he does it. He has some bad hitboxes, but he's so slow they don't really matter that much. And he's really easy because, I mean, yeah, I died, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was because I thought one strategy was going to work, and I didn't realize he was going to appear in a completely different place. So I got kind of caught and got pretty much immediately killed. I don't remember for sure, though. It's been a while. It's a good fight. It's just a little easier than I would like. Although if you're a mage, it become really easy. Even easier than mine was. Nashka. I guess here. She was a decent fight. It sucks that you can't, whenever you cut off her tails, they don't actually give you a weapon like they did in Dark Souls 1. It's something weird that I'm surprised they didn't bring back in either of the sequels. I guess it was kind of annoying in Dark Souls 1, but it was still cool. Regardless, she was a decent fight. There's nothing really stand out about her. She was a cool design. But, there's nothing, I don't really have much to say about her. There's nothing really wrong with her. Also, Royal Red Authority. Fuck this boss. If I remember correctly, it's kind of hard to remember. Yeah, from one of the pictures. Okay, this is probably the worst boss in the game. That, or Luddenzolen, or Belfry Gargoyle. One of the three. But basically, it has four. I don't know how many rats it is, but it has a few rats before the boss actually drops. That basically instantly toxic you. And with how bad the damage is for toxic in Dark Souls 2, you're basically fucked if that happens. It doesn't help they have horrible hitboxes, so it's hard to hit them with bigger weapons. Your best bet is sniping the first one and then hoping for the best with the second one. The only good thing is there's no run-up. The bonfire is directly outside of the boss fog, so at least you don't have to worry about that, but it's still a fucking horrible boss. It also doesn't help that the boss itself, the fucking dog-looking thing, has a bunch of basically instant attacks and some horrible hitboxes, some of the worst I've ever seen in this game, especially when it comes to bosses. It's pathetic. Mega Skank. I'm putting top of Horde because it's just insanely lazy. It's literally just a bunch of mobs shoved together in one room. The only good thing about this fight, the only singular good thing, is that the church benches allow for you to kind of prevent them from hitting you for a few seconds, but it's still incredibly fucking stupid. The only good thing about this fight is that it's an easy way to farm Titanite slabs. But then again, why would you waste your bonfire aesthetics on farming slabs here when you could just go into like the various other places in the game where you can farm slabs and just do that? Such as inside Dringo Castle with the statues. Those drop slabs pretty consistently. The dragon butts in the first DLC, they drop slabs pretty consistently. There's just no point in doing it. But I guess if you really need a guaranteed one, and you don't have like item discovery gear, you can just do this once. It's a ridiculously easy fight, but it's also insanely lazy. It's just crappy. It doesn't help that's also in a cruddy area as well, in my opinion. Although I guess the run-up's not that bad. Duke's Dear Freya. I'll put it bottom of good. It's a very easy boss, but I love the design. As creepy as spiders are, it's still fun as hell to beat the shit out of them. And the fact that you can just hold a torch, which will make all the smaller spiders fuck off, is nice. I like how also you can hit either end, at least until the head falls off. It has some weird hitboxes, but it's a very easy fight. If you have anywhere near decent timing for rolls and decent decent iframes, and a torch, you should be fine. It's a good fight. It's cool though. I like the design. It's a good fight. The only bad thing is I don't like the fucking run up with all those bullshit torch dudes that they seem to fucking always hit me. Especially when I try to run past. I didn't run past very many times, but it was annoying. Roll at Vanguard. I'm pretty sure I did something out of order, but whatever. Roll at Vanguard. I'm gonna put it here, right between the Gargoyles and Mega's Gank, because it's just a bunch of fucking rats. Except some of them can petrify you, or I think all of them can petrify you, and then he can toxic you. So it's fucking annoying as hell. It doesn't help that if I remember correctly, it's the only boss in that entire fucking area. So the area is pretty much pointless, because there's nothing in it, and then the only boss there is literally just a bunch of fucking rats. It's horrible. This is looking pretty bad so far. Rotten. I'll put it right under their covetous. This boss is pretty easy. It just has some really, really bad hitboxes. And the arena sucks too. Because the fire does a fuck ton of damage. And basically if you get pushed into it or grabbed and then held over it, you're basically dead. There's nothing really to say about it. It's just a gross boss in a horrible area. It's in the Gulch. And in a horrible fucking arena. Only good thing is, there is a bonfire right before the boss. But you're still likely to get toxic because of the fucking statues. And to get to that bonfire, you have to use one of the branches of yore. So fucking yay. I'd say it's a pretty accurate placement. Okay, Twin Dragon Riders. Where'd I put Dragon Rider? Okay, I'll put it top of Horde. Reason being, it's literally just Dragon Rider, but there's that one Dragon Rider, and then there's a bow one that is extremely frail. It's annoying, and it's insanely lazy. There's nothing to say about it. It's just another generic fight that's just slightly harder than the first one, because you can't cheese it. And it's just lazy as hell. There's nothing else to say. Looking Glass Knight. I almost want to put him in Amazing, but I don't think he quite deserves that. Yeah, I'll put him in Good. Reason being is that the good things about him is that he's a very interesting looking boss. He's just a knight with a fucking giant mirror as his shield. He can also summon a player or an NPC depending on if you're offline or not to fight you as well, which leaves him wide open, although he gets a huge damage reduction, so hitting him basically does nothing. Yeah, I could imagine it being insanely annoying if it's a player, and it's probably the worst handled player boss of all the player boss fights in the entire series. But it's still an interesting mechanic, and as long as you go offline, you can usually take out the NPC pretty much instantly. Reason he's not higher is that, at least primarily, it's because he has really bad hitboxes. I know the initial jump, if any part of him clips you, it'll take full damage. It's stupid. Also, his shield hitboxes are kind of weird. So sometimes when you clearly don't hit the fucking mirror, you'll hit the mirror and bounce off, which will get you hit usually. It's a good fight. It's just hitboxes mainly get fucking over. And maybe if there was a way to stop him from summoning an NPC or a player, it would be better. Or maybe if while the NPC or player was active, he wasn't active or something. I don't know. There's a couple ways they could have did it, but even without that, he's still a good boss. Demon of Song. Bottom of average, I guess. It's kind of hard to rank these, though. Because not only do I not remember a lot of them very well, but I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of hard to really form a lot of opinions on these. A lot of them feel super generic. Probably because they all are insanely slow. But whatever. The Demon of Song's decent. I don't like some of its hitboxes. Especially that jumping forward attack. Although it's not really a hitbox thing. It's just super fucking annoying to try to dodge. But I guess it is pretty easy to dodge. You probably can just run past him while he does that. It just kind of makes me panic. I guess maybe that's good in a way. But it's also annoyingly slow because of him constantly shutting his fucking gross ass whatever the fuck it is. Oh, also, can I say this is one of the grossest bosses I've seen? It's basically a human skull surrounded by a fucking frog skin. And the way it acts almost makes the outside of it feel like fucking foreskin. It's gross. Whatever, that's about where he deserves to be. Velstat. Fuck it. I think Amazing should have something by now. He's a really good boss. He's interesting. Using a giant fucking bell as a weapon is awesome. It just sucks that the version you get isn't like a chime or anything. Well, it says it's a chime, but you can't cast anything from it. Except it's Heart 2, which only does one unique spell. But regardless, that doesn't really have much. The only bad thing about this fight is the run-up is pretty bad, but you can usually get into the boss fog before getting caught by the enemies. And if you don't, you can usually just pull them away for a couple seconds and then get in. Either way, the only problem I have with them, if I remember correctly, I might be forgetting, but I think there's some sort of damage reduction during the fight, and it's really stupid. But other than that, it's a great fight. His moveset's pretty... It's not overwhelmingly easy to dodge or insanely difficult to dodge either. It's like a good middle ground. Like, he's quick, but not so quick that it becomes impossible to dodge. Especially in Dark Souls 2. It's a good fight. Only problem, like I said, is the damage reduction, and it has some iffy hitboxes in some places. But for Dark Souls 2 bosses, he has pretty decent hitboxes. Vendrick. I'm putting him in bad. Reason being, it takes fucking forever to get the giant souls. Which is infuriating, because you shouldn't have to kill like 6 other bosses to even stand a chance against him. Or not, I guess it's not like 6. I think it's only 2, 1 boss and a couple enemies, actually. But it's still annoying. Like, there's no reason he should have that kind of damage reduction. And it's another example of artificially making a boss difficult. Because the damage he takes, even with 2 giant souls, is insanely fucking low. Like I said, I used a bonfire aesthetic, fought him with 2 giant souls, and he took double digits. Or it was either double digits or triple digits. I think it was double digits. Which makes it nearly impossible with the speed of my weapons to even stand a chance against him. Especially because if I remember correctly, he one-shot me. Speaking of, even with max giant souls, which are 5, he still takes a pretty average amount of damage. But he basically 2-shots you no matter what. Because remember, I had maxed out Havels and Smelters. Smelter had Havel, everything else. And I was still getting basically 2-shot. It's fucking ridiculous. Especially considering how cruddy some of his hitboxes are. He's just not a good fight. There's nothing good about him. He's just a dumb fucking fight. Guardian Dragon. Remember, this is the Scholar version. And I'll put him here, actually. Reason being is that you fight a version of him way earlier in the game in Heights Tower Flame and Scholar. And then immediately after beating you have to fight him like 3 more times. In the Dragonary. Not to mention he's an annoying fight, how he just keeps jumping up into... It's either he sticks to the ground and he's ridiculously easy, or he just sticks to the cage and breathes fire on you constantly. There's no in between. It's a bad fight. And it doesn't help, like I said, that he's not only reused before he appears, but also reused after he appears. It's just not good. Ancient Dragon. He's cool looking. I'll put him top of bad. He's cool looking, but one, he has that stupid shit with, like with Vendrick, where you have to hit him a certain amount of times or for a certain amount of damage until he actually fights you. He does an absurd amount of damage. The only good thing is that most of the attacks are pretty easy to dodge, but the fact they take up almost the entire arena is beyond stupid. Especially because the way I fought him, I got really lucky. Because I stayed behind him, and so he didn't do his big fire attack, which covers like the entire fucking arena. It's just, there's nothing good about it. The only good... Well, I guess it's not nothing. Like I said, the only good thing is that he's cool looking and he's not insanely hard. But he has a retarded amount of HP. It's like a freight train. But he's still pretty easy to dodge in most cases. It depends entirely on where you are and which fucking breath he decides to go for. Because if he just spams the big one, you can't beat him, basically. Although I don't know if he can spam the big one. I don't know. I've just seen some dumb fucking fights with him on YouTube and stuff. And while mine was pretty easy, I'm pretty sure he can be a lot harder, and I just got lucky. I don't know for sure, but either way, he wasn't very fun to fight. So even if he's pretty much always pretty much that easy, he still only goes up to average anyways. Giant Lord. You know, because of lore, I'll put him at bottom of average. Because he's basically the last giant fight, except he's always in phase 2. And he has worse hitboxes. And I guess also the run-up to him is awful because of the fucking big-ass boulder, those stupid firebombs, the giants that have horrible hitboxes, and all that bullshit. It's the main problem I have with him is that it's just the bad hitboxes, and he's no fun to fight. He's really easy, though, I guess. It also doesn't help that he's basically the exact fucking same as Last Giant. But, the only reason he's not bad is because lore-wise it makes sense, because you'd like time travel into the past in order to fight the Last Giant whenever he was at his prime. Although he's a lot easier than even the normal fucking giants, so I don't get how he's the ruler. While he's not a horrible fight, he's also not anything special. He just feels like Last Giant, but tankier, really. Now we got Throne Watcher and Defender, aka Throne Gank. It's basically a shitty Orange Sea and Smoke ripoff. Here I guess. They're not hard. They're just boring. There's nothing special about them. And I got lucky with mine. Because, I could hit them both for really high damage, so I didn't have to worry about waiting around forever for an opportunity to hit them. It's still annoying as hell. But it's not the worst thing I fought. It's just boring. It also doesn't help that it's the start of a fucking triple boss encounter. So if you're really bad at dealing with ganks, have fun with this fucking fight. I guess maybe it shouldn't be bad. Let's put it bottom of average. It's nothing special, but like I said, it's not horrible. It's not like insulting, but it's not good by any means. Oh, and also the fact that they can revive each other if you don't kill them close enough to each other is stupid as hell. Chandra. I'll put him here, I guess. I like her design a lot. Although, and it's fucking funny how her intro cutscene has her face cut off basically the entire time. It's funny, but this isn't really special. I like how she has a scythe, but she barely fucking uses the scythe. I don't think she's swung it once at me in my fight. Not sure though. I'm really having trouble saying anything about these guys. I apologize. This is kind of boring at this point. I just have less to say. The cursor orbs are annoying. I don't know why they think they're just pointless. They don't make the fight any more difficult. They're just annoying. But like I said, average. Nothing insulting. Nothing that stands out really. Audio. Again, basically the exact same thing in the Chandra. There's an annoying part of the fight, which is the fire barrier, but generally it's pretty easy to just watch out for. All those attacks are extremely easy to dodge, at least from the ones that got shot at me. All the tree, like, shoot, like, the straight tree attack, or straight root attack, you just kind of run to the side and you'll be fine. And whenever he burns himself out by shooting a bunch of branches or roots from the ground, it's really easy to dodge through them, or even walk through them and then hit them once or twice. And he pretty consistently puts the barrier down, so it's just slightly annoying. Yeah. Although it's kind of dumb how fast the barrier starts instantly damaging you. Like how I'm pretty sure I almost died against him because I was in there for like a second. It's dumb. Like I said, nothing really that stands out overwhelmingly. Oh, actually, let me move it down a little bit. Fuck it, actually, let me move it down over here because you don't even get a reward. That you don't get a soul. Like, yeah, he doesn't die, but still, put a soul somewhere else. That's what they did for Ancient Dragon. Why didn't they do it for Audia? So because you don't get a soul, and that means you don't get any sort of boss weapon or reward really other than souls. I'm bringing them down to bad, but the fight itself is around the Chandra quality. Dark Lurker. Yeah, fuck that fight. The phase 1's good. He's really slow, but if it was only phase 1 for the entire fight, I'd put him probably on the higher end of average. But because of phase 2, like I said before, they hit ridiculously hard. They are way too tanky. They have an attack that puts them invincible, makes them invincible basically, unless you're a ranged build, which most people aren't. They can teleport instantly, which means you can wind up for an attack, they teleport away, and it can leave you open for the second Dark Lurker. And then the attack after they disappear, or after you kill them, probably fucked over a lot of people. Also doesn't help you have to fucking fight a bunch of NPCs every time you fight the Lurker. And you also have to give up a humanity. Oh, and also it has both have high damage projectile attacks that are kind of tough to dodge, especially multiple at a time. And it ends up making you run around like a fucking moron trying to get an opening. It's just not a good fight. I hate it. I don't know why people like it. It's the one I think it's the fight that I died to the most, other than maybe Belfry Gargoyle. But it is not a good fight. It's just, again, it's an example of why two of the exact same fucking enemy in a gang fight isn't good. Especially when it's like a boss like that. What they should have done is they should have sped up his attacks, made him less tankier but gave him more HP, maybe make him hit a little bit less hard, but then also make it so the phase 2 just doesn't happen. Maybe add some moves to the phase 2. Or make it so you can destroy the clone kind of like with Solomon in Dark Souls 3. That'd make it a lot better. Like if the clone had separate health, or whenever you hit the clone it would damage the total health, but it would also have its own health bar. So if you hit it for long enough, it would kill it or something. If they did that, it would make it much, 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 much better. But as it is now, it's a really, really bad fight. Not quite as bad as Gargoyles, because at least it's later in the game. And if you have like a ranged build, you shouldn't struggle with it really all that much. Definitely not as bad as the Authority. Alana. I actually like Alana a good bit. It was a good fight. I'll put it like here. Alana herself is pretty easy and slow, but the teleportation allows her to get right in your face pretty quickly. Along with some of her range attacks allowing her to set up pretty good combos that if you try to dodge the first attack improperly, she'll hit you with her own axe and do some good damage. Also, the summons are nice, especially because usually she summons late enough that you can kill her as she's summoning or basically right after she's summoned. Also, the setting of the arena is pretty cool as well with the giant tapestry of Sin. It's cool. She's not overwhelmingly good, but she's definitely good. Sin. I don't like Sin. Really don't like Sin. I'd say it's the worst unique dragon boss in the series because the fucker stays in the air way too long. Half the attacks you can't see when he attacks, so you just gotta fucking hope for the best and hope you just can dodge on your own, which basically just consists of you running to the side. He has a bunch of attacks, mainly his forward charge, that are basically instant, and he hits way harder than he should. He's just bad. He's a cool looking boss, but he's horrible to fight, and I don't get why people like him. The only other good thing is that he has a bonfire right in front of this boss fog, kind of like the Authority does. So at least you won't have to fucking run for a mile while trying to fight him over and over again. He's a bad fight, though. I don't get why people like him. Gank Squad. You know what? Fuck you. Not only is a 3 NPC gank squad with some of the bullshit that fight entails fucking ridiculous, like the tracking jumping attacks, which doesn't make any sense. But especially in the original Dark Souls 2, you have to pay DLC for this shit. It's incredibly easy, and your only fucking reward from being this fight, other than the normal souls, is a random fucking helm that no one's gonna use. The only good thing is that at least the run-up to it isn't too bad. It has a lot of those toxic statues, but as long as you go slow, you should be fine. And even if you die to them, you can usually run through pretty quickly. Like, if you try to get everything, as long as you go slow, you'll be fine. But you can usually run past the statues without getting poisoned. Even by that, since you're so late in the game, you should easily be able to cure yourself. But if you try to fight 1 versus 3, have fucking fun. Because that shit is horrid. Horrible, horrible, horrible. It's so bad. It's literally just 3 player NPCs that have no lower significance. It's dumb. Also, like I said, the tracking attacks, or the tracking jumping attacks, is just fucking retarded. Like, absolutely brain dead. I don't know how they let that shit slide. Fume Knight. He's very easy, but he's fun. I'll put him in amazing still. Because while he was really easy, he's still very fun. And he's not really overly hard. I don't get why people struggle with him. Because he's a little bit faster than most of the bosses in Dark Souls 2. But he's still very easy. He doesn't hit quite hard enough to become ridiculous. And both ganking the shit out of him and soloing him isn't too bad. Because on my private playthrough, or my practice run, I fought him by myself, beat him first try pretty easily. Maybe also because I do such high damage. Maybe that's also why he wasn't so bad for me. But he's a good fight. He's just easy. I don't know why people say he's hard. Also, 4v1ing him is fun as hell. Surlon. I'd say he's the best fight in the game. I liked him a lot. He was fun. I think he kicked my ass once, and he has some really iffy hitboxes, especially on his grab. But he's a good fight. He's not only is he interesting looking, but he's one of the faster, more aggressive bosses of the game, which is really awesome. He'd be a lot better if he was in a faster game. Like, if he was in Dark Souls 3, and he just sped up a bit, he'd be a lot more fun of a fight. I guess part of the problem with Dark Souls 2 bosses, or Dark Souls 2 bosses, is that it basically makes them impossible to. It's impossible to make them go really fast without making them overwhelmingly difficult because of how slow the player is. Which is part of the reason I hate that because it limits the bosses so heavily. So Sir Alana is a really, really good fight. He's one of the few bosses in this game that I'd say is able to stand up to the quality of like the higher end Dark Souls 1 and 3 bosses. And Bloodborne, of course. Like, I'd say everything in good is like the average for like the rest of the series. Ranges from the average of the rest of the series to bad. And then bad and Horde are like horrible for the other series as well. I'd say the only other boss I can think of in the series other than Dark Souls 2 that would be a Horde, or the equivalent of these, is the Beta Chaos. Which shows because this fucking game, it's like 7 times the amount of horrible bosses. Or I shouldn't be doing this yet, but 8 times the horrible bosses of the rest of the series. At least in my opinion, this really shows how fucking horrible Dark Souls 2 is. I shouldn't be talking about this right away. Because I haven't gotten to the end yet, but Magic Smelter Demon. I put this guy up here, or the original up here, and good. Oops. But I will, what the fuck, why? I did not. I'm putting this guy at top of bad, because he's still a decent fight, but his run, actually no, fuck it, I'm putting him at, fuck it, I'll put it top of Horde. The Blue Smelter Demon is fucking awful. Not only is I guess they at least change up the timings, which is both the good and bad. Good because it makes the fight a little more unique, but bad because it makes the fight even more difficult. The main problem is, other than the fact that he's just a redo of the exact same fucking boss as earlier, except with slightly different timings. He has no new moves, it's just different timings. But also, in the original Dark Souls, you had to pay for him. Like, pay extra for him. And you have that horrible run-up. Probably the worst area of the entire series, other than Reindeer Fuckland. It's insulting that all the extra bosses in Dark Souls 2's DLCs are literally just fucking ganks. Or not ganks, rehashes. It's just fucking dumb. Especially, oh my god, why is it doing that? Especially because it's Smelter Demon, Blood and Zolan, and Gang Squad are the only fights you can fight, or the only bosses you can fight if you don't own the DLCs. The only DLC bosses you can fight if you don't own the DLCs. It's pretty pathetic. I don't know. Ava, I'd say actually lower of amazing. Because while it has some iffy hitboxes, I still think it's a very, very, very good fight. Fighting against a giant fucking tiger is awesome. Especially since it can shoot like fucking magic and shit. It's just a good fight. I'm struggling to find stuff to say about a lot of these fights at this point. But it's a good fight. I guess it doesn't really stand out too much, but you're fighting a fucking giant tiger. That's awesome. Burnt Ivory King. I'll put him bottom of good, because while the Ivory King himself, if it was just a one-on-one, he'd probably be an amazing. But because you have to fight all those fucking annoying knights at the start, and with how slow that last knight to seal up the last portal is with sealing it up, it just makes this fight fucking boring as hell. Or not boring, just annoying as hell. Especially because the annoying mob knights earlier in the fight generally exclusively focus on you. I think I've only ever seen one of them go after someone other than me, which is stupid as hell. It also doesn't help that to get the soul of Alana, you have to fucking fight those stupid mob knights like a million times. This shit was so annoying. And the final one, Lud and Zod. I'm gonna put him above Gang Squad. Part of the reason is because in the original game you had to pay for them, like on top of the game. And the fact they're literally just Ava, but there are two of them, and they're somehow worse because they can regen at their once they get low enough health. It's stupid as fuck. And the area that they're in is the worst in the series. I don't know what they were thinking with this boss and the entire area surrounding them fucking reindeer fuckland. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. The extra bosses, the bonus bosses of the DLCs don't make sense. All of them are bad. I apologize for at the end. I didn't really have much to say about a lot of these, but they're just fucking bad. So many of these bosses are bad. Like, at least from eyeballing it, I'd probably say like fucking 40% of the bosses in this game are bad or horrid. And then probably like 20% of them are average, and only like probably 5 or 6% of them are actually really, really good. I might put actual percentages in the description. Or maybe I could do that now, actually. That wouldn't take very long, would it? Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I'll do the percentages right now. I don't know if I did this with the zombie map ranking. But I guess it's worth doing right now. So at least from my count, there are 41 bosses in this tier list. From the wiki, it said there were 42, but I copied the images from the wiki, so I shouldn't have missed any. If I did, oh well. You guys can just let me know in the description, maybe, or not in the description. You guys can let me know in the comments, and I might put them. Oh, I might just put the last boss in base just in the description. I'll like tell you where he'd be in the description, maybe. Just depends. I'm pretty sure though. I think it was Fextra Life I got him off of their boss list. So unless I'm blind, it's something I didn't notice after reading through them like 4 times. Because I also compared them to another list and I had every single one. I'm pretty sure it's just 41 bosses and the 42 is like a miscount. Regardless, since there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 9 bosses in Horde. So that'd be what, 9 divided by 41. Yeah. That would be about 22% of the bosses in the game are horrible. Horrid. It's pretty fucking embarrassing. Now for bad, there are 11, so 11 divided by 41. About 27% of the bosses in the game are bad. So about 48% of all the bosses in the game are either horrible or bad. That's really bad. Because like in Dark Souls 3, I'd bet there's probably only like 2 or 3 bosses that will be in these 2. For average, there is another 9. So that'd be what, another 22, 23% of them would be average. It's not too bad. And then for good, you have about 20% of them are good. And then for amazing, you have about 10%. So about 30% of the bosses are good or amazing. About 21% of them, like I said, are amazing. That would be good in the other games. So almost half of them are horrible. Or either bad or horrible. And the rest are either average or good or amazing. That's some pretty bad fucking percentages. Dark Souls 2 really has the worst bosses of the series by a mile. That's what you get, I guess, when you go for quantity over quality. Regardless, thank you for watching. Like I said, I do apologize for not really having much to say about the last couple bosses. But regardless, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoy. Have a nice day and stay safe. The next video you'll see will be probably just the difficulty bosses. Or the difficulty ranking of the bosses. See ya.